The ultimatum. Supreme Commander Zarvek of the Varkonian Empire stood on the command deck of the Eternal Dominion, his flagship that stretched 17 kilometers from bow to stern. Behind him, a holographic display showed the latest conquest, the Proxima Centauri system, now stripped of resistance and brought under Varkonian control. It had been almost too easy. "Prepare the envoy to Sol," Zarvek ordered, his voice echoing through the cavernous chamber. "It's time to bring these humans into the fold." For 3 centuries, the Varkonians had expanded their reach across the galaxy. 237 species had been absorbed into their empire, some voluntarily, most through force. Their technological superiority was absolute, their military might unquestioned. The pattern was always the same: arrival, ultimatum, submission or destruction. Humans, from what their intelligence had gathered, were fractious, divided, and technologically primitive. They had barely established outposts beyond their home system, their space forces comprised of ungainly vessels that used chemical propulsion and primitive nuclear engines. Their weapons were kinetic or nuclear at best. Against the gravity manipulation technology and dark matter weaponry of the Varkonians, they would be helpless. On Earth, Director Elena Reyes of the United Earth Defense Council received the transmission from the approaching Varkonian envoy. The message was brutally simple: surrender Earth's sovereignty, accept Varkonian governance, and provide tribute in resources and labor, or face total extinction. The council chamber fell silent as the holographic image of the Varkonian ambassador faded. "They'll be here in 7 days," Elena said, her voice steady despite the weight of the moment. "Their main fleet follows 3 days after that." General Kaido Tanaka, head of Earth's conventional military forces, slammed his fist on the table. "We can't fight them with what we have. You've seen the intelligence from the Proxima system. Their technology is centuries beyond ours." "Perhaps not centuries," said Dr. Amir Khan, his eyes never leaving his data tablet. As head of Earth's clandestine Prometheus project, he had spent the last 15 years preparing for this very day. "We've known this was coming since we detected their first signals 30 years ago. We haven't been idle." Elena nodded. "The time has come to reveal Project Prometheus. In the depths of Europa, Jupiter's ice-covered moon, the true extent of humanity's preparation was hidden from both their own population and any watching eyes. Deep beneath the frozen surface, a vast complex housed the fruits of unified human ingenuity, working in absolute secrecy. Dr. Khan led the council through security doors that required DNA, retinal, and quantum-encrypted authorization. The chamber they entered was vast, a cathedral to human determination. Suspended in the center was a slowly rotating holographic display of the solar system. "For 30 years," Khan explained, "we've been building in secret, not just weapons or ships, but an entirely new understanding of physics." Elena stepped closer to the display. "Show me." Khan gestured, and the hologram changed. Suddenly, hundreds of small points of light appeared throughout the system, concentrated particularly in the asteroid belt, around Jupiter, and in the Kuiper belt. "We call it the Shroud," Khan said. "A network of quantum-entangled defense platforms. Each one contains what we've termed a reality anchor, technology that can locally manipulate the fundamental constants of physics." General Tanaka's eyes widened. "That's impossible." "Not impossible," Khan corrected. "Just beyond conventional understanding. We reverse-engineered elements of it from the Roswell crash in 1947. It's taken us this long to develop it properly." The display zoomed in on one of the platforms, a geometric shape that seemed to constantly shift between states, never quite settling into a single form. "The Varkonians rely on their mastery of gravity manipulation and dark matter interactions," Khan continued, "but they operate within the standard model of physics. Our platforms can create localized fields where those rules change." Elena studied the display. "And our ships? What about offensive capabilities?" Khan smiled grimly. "That's where Project Prometheus truly shines. The hologram shifted again, revealing a fleet of vessels unlike anything humanity had publicly built. Black, angular, and with a strange shimmer that made them difficult to focus on directly. The Black Fleet, Khan said with evident pride. 50 ships built in secret facilities throughout the system. They incorporate the reality anchor technology, along with our most advanced weapons systems. Admiral Helena Chin, commander of Earth's Space Forces, examined the designs with a critical eye. Who's commanding them? We don't have enough trained personnel for this kind of operation. That's the other breakthrough, Khan replied. These ships are partially sentient, quantum AI cores linked directly to human pilots. One human can effectively control the entire ship's systems. We've been training pilots in simulation for 15 years. They're ready. The Council spent the next several hours discussing strategy. By the time they emerged, Earth's response to the Varkonian ultimatum was decided. 3 days later, a single message was sent to the approaching Varkonian envoy. To the Varkonian Empire, humanity declines your offer. We propose a meeting at the following coordinates beyond the orbit of Mars. Come and witness why. On the Eternal Dominion, Zarvek received the human response with amused contempt. Such pride from a species about to be extinguished. He commented to his second-in-command. Very well. We'll meet them at their chosen location and demonstrate our power. Have the fleet prepare for total planetary subjugation. The Varkonian envoy ship, accompanied by a battle group of 20 vessels, altered course for the coordinates the humans had provided. Their scans showed nothing of significance at the location. Just empty space. Clearly, the humans intended some sort of diplomatic last stand before inevitable surrender. As Earth prepared for the confrontation, Project Prometheus was activated. Throughout the solar system, the hidden defense platforms came online. In secure bases on Mars, Europa, and within the hollowed-out asteroids of the belt, the Black Fleet powered up. Commander Maya Okafor stood in the bridge of the Defiance, flagship of the Black Fleet. The neural interface attached to her temples hummed softly as she connected to the ship's systems. All ships report ready, she announced to the small crew on the bridge. Unlike conventional vessels, each ship of the Black Fleet required only 5 crew members, the rest of the operations handled by the ship's AI and the neural-linked commander. The Varkonians are approaching the designated coordinates, reported Lieutenant James Chen from the tactical station. They'll be there in 20 minutes. Maya nodded. Signal the fleet. Execute Operation Prometheus. Throughout the system, the Black Fleet moved from their hidden docks. Unlike conventional ships, they didn't use engines in the traditional sense. The reality anchors created localized distortions in space-time itself, allowing the vessels to effectively slide through the fabric of reality. The Varkonian battle group arrived at the designated coordinates, weapons charged and shields at maximum. They expected to find a pathetic showing of Earth's primitive ships, perhaps a last diplomatic envoy. What they found instead was empty space. Supreme Commander, the tactical officer aboard the Varkonian envoy ship reported, "There's nothing here." Zarvek's lieutenant, Kordraz, frowned. Scan again. The humans must be. He never finished his sentence. The space around the Varkonian ships suddenly changed. Stars seemed to dim, and sensors reported impossible readings. Gravity waves fluctuated wildly, and the very vacuum seemed to thicken. What is happening? Zarvek demanded as alarms blared across his ship. And then they appeared, not with the flash of conventional drives or the distortion of warp fields, but by simply being there, as if they had always been present, but only now chose to be seen. 50 black ships, their hulls seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it, surrounding the Varkonian battle group in a perfect sphere formation. For the first time in his long military career, Zarvek felt something unfamiliar crawl up his spine. Fear. The reckoning. Varkonian vessels identified, announced the AI of the Defiance in Commander Maya Okafor's mind. Reality anchor field stabilized. All Black Fleet ships in position. Maya stood perfectly still on her bridge, her consciousness partially merged with her ship through the neural interface. She could feel the Varkonian vessels through the ship's sensors, their energy signatures, their weapons powering up, their frantic communications. "This is Commander Maya Okafor of Earth's Defense Fleet," she transmitted to the Varkonian ships. "You have threatened our world with extinction. We reject your ultimatum and offer you one chance to retreat." Aboard the Varkonian command vessel, Supreme Commander Zarvek recovered quickly from his initial surprise. These human ships, while unexpected, were still no match for Varkonian technology. "Target their largest vessel," he ordered. "Full weapons discharge. Show them the price of defiance." The Varkonian flagship's primary weapon, a dark matter cannon capable of shattering moons, fired directly at the Defiance. The beam, invisible except for the distortion it created in space, struck and vanished. Around the Defiance, space itself seemed to ripple and absorb the attack. The energy simply disappeared, as if it had never existed. Reality anchor functioning at optimal levels. The ship's AI informed Maya. Attack neutralized. Maya allowed herself a small smile. "All ships, execute Phase 2. The Black Fleet responded as one. The reality anchors aboard each vessel created localized fields where the conventional laws of physics were subtly altered. Within these fields, the Varkonian ship's systems began to fail. Their gravity drives found themselves in spaces where gravity operated differently. Their dark matter weapons tried to manipulate particles that no longer behaved as expected. "We've lost weapons control," shouted a Varkonian officer as consoles sparked around him. "Shields are failing." Zarvek stared in disbelief at the tactical display. "Impossible. They're manipulating fundamental constants." "How?" The Black Fleet began to move, not in the lumbering fashion of conventional ships, but with impossible precision and speed. They didn't travel through space so much as they selectively existed in different points of it, appearing and disappearing around the Varkonian vessels. "All ships," Maya commanded. "Targeted strikes. Disable, don't destroy." The human vessels fired weapons unlike anything the Varkonians had encountered. Beams of coherent light that seemed to bypass shields entirely, striking with surgical precision at propulsion systems and weapons arrays. Projectiles that phased through outer hulls before materializing inside critical systems. Within minutes, the Varkonian battle group was crippled. "Supreme Commander," Kordraz reported, his voice shaking, "we've lost engine control. Weapons are offline. 15 of our escort vessels are completely disabled." Zarvek's mind raced. In 3 centuries of expansion, the Varkonian Empire had never encountered resistance like this. Their technological superiority had always been absolute. Until now. The Defiance materialized directly in front of the Varkonian flagship, its black hull seeming to swallow the light of the distant sun. "This is your final warning," Maya transmitted. "Retreat and inform your empire that Earth is not to be threatened. We have shown restraint today. We will not do so a second time." Pride and fear warred within Zarvek. The pride of a conqueror who had never known defeat, and the fear of a commander facing an enemy whose technology defied understanding. "Fear 1. Signal the main fleet," he ordered reluctantly. "Tell them to hold position. We are withdrawing." As the crippled Varkonian battle group limped away from the battlefield, the Black Fleet maintained position, a silent warning against any treachery. In the Galactic Council, word spread quickly. The species that had long labored under Varkonian threat or domination watched with growing hope as the footage, anonymously distributed, showed the mighty Empire's ships disabled by a previously unknown race. On Earth, celebrations were tempered with the knowledge that this was likely only the beginning. The Varkonians would return, perhaps with greater numbers, perhaps with new technologies designed to counter the reality anchors. But for the first time, humanity had united completely. The existence of the Black Fleet and Project Prometheus was revealed to the public. though many details remained classified. Across the planet, research into the reality anchor technology accelerated. New ships were commissioned, new defense platforms deployed. 6 months after the confrontation, a delegation from the Galactic Council arrived at Earth. They came not with threats, but with an invitation. Earth was being offered membership in the Council, with all the diplomatic recognition and protection that implied. "We've been watching your species for some time," explained the Tellurian ambassador, a being of crystalline structure that shimmered as it spoke. "Many thought you too divided, too primitive to survive contact with the wider galaxy, but you've proven otherwise." Director Elena Reyes, now representing Earth in these negotiations, nodded thoughtfully. "We've had our differences throughout history, but when truly threatened, humans have always found strength in unity." "There's more," the ambassador continued. "Several systems previously under Varconian control have declared independence. They seek allies. They seek protection." Elena understood the implication immediately. Earth has no imperial ambitions. We fought for our freedom, not to become conquerors ourselves. "Not conquerors," the ambassador clarified. "Protectors." There is a difference. In the decades that followed, the balance of power in the galaxy shifted. The Varconian Empire, while still powerful, no longer expanded unchecked. Earth, once deemed insignificant, became the center of a growing alliance of independent worlds, species who valued their sovereignty and were willing to share knowledge and resources for mutual protection. The Black Fleet, once Earth's desperate secret, became the visible symbol of this new alliance. Its ships, now numbering in the hundreds, patrolled the borders of Allied space, not seeking conflict, but ensuring that no empire would threaten free worlds again. Commander Maya Okafor, now Admiral of the Allied Defense Fleet, often reflected on how quickly humanity had adapted to its new role in the galactic community. From isolated planetary civilization to a major power in just a few decades. "We never wanted war," she told a group of cadets at the newly established Earth Defense Academy. "But we were ready for it. Now we must be ready for peace, a peace protected by strength, but defined by cooperation." As she spoke, the ships of the Black Fleet hung in orbit above, their dark hulls a reminder to all who looked up at the night sky. Humanity would never again be underestimated. In the far reaches of Varconian space, Supreme Commander Zarvek, now demoted but still influential, pored over reports of human technology. The defeat at Sol had been a humiliation, but also a valuable lesson. The Varconians had grown complacent in their superiority, never imagining that a supposedly primitive species could make such a technological leap. "We misjudged them," he admitted to his small circle of loyal officers. "We saw their divisions and thought them weak. We didn't realize those divisions drove their innovation, their competitive spirit." "Will we strike again?" asked one of his officers. Zarvek was silent for a long moment. "Not yet. Perhaps not ever, at least not directly. The humans have changed the equation. We must adapt or fade into history." Throughout the galaxy, species that had never dared to resist now looked to Earth with hope. The humans had done the impossible. They had stood against an empire and won. Not through overwhelming numbers or centuries of technological development, but through innovation, secrecy, and an unwavering refusal to surrender. The message was clear to all who heard the story. Never underestimate a species that has spent its entire history fighting. Against nature, against each other, and now, against the stars themselves. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage, and the galaxy would never be the same.